So the transfer window may not be open at the moment, but over the past few weeks I've seen a bunch of championship transfer rumours going around that I thought I would bring to you guys for today's video. We'll also be talking through some of the latest managerial speculation currently going around the league as well, with a couple of clubs still looking for a new manager. I'm interested to know from you guys, what are the positions that you think your club needs to strengthen in the January transfer window. Before we do get into anything though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. If you are looking for the latest championship transfer rumours, then OneFootball has got you covered for that as well. If you want to read up a little bit more on some of the rumours that we do talk about throughout today's video, then you can go over to the OneFootball app. They've got all the latest news and ongoings from whoever you support. I think it's a really cool app. I use it all the time. You can get notifications on there, so you can always stay updated with the teams that you follow, and you can keep up to date with all the games that are going on in the league at the moment as well. So I'll leave a link in the top line of the description down below where you can go ahead and check that out. But we'll now hop into the video. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today was some of the latest managerial speculation. Obviously we have seen Reading lately appoint Mark Bowen as their new manager, or should I say Mark Bowen basically appointed Mark Bowen. Their former sporting director has taken the role upon himself to become their new manager. Now, I'm not convinced about this one, but I'll hold back on my judgment and see how he does. I will be at Reading this weekend as Preston take them on, so I'm interested to see how he does in his first match there. I've said it throughout the season so far, but I still see quite a bit of potential in that Reading squad, and I do think they're a lot better than where they currently sit in the table. For whatever reason, things didn't quite work out with Jose Gomez this season, but with Mark Bowen, I'm a bit on the fence about this one. He, in the past, has been number 2 to Mark Hughes, who was heavily linked to the job. I don't necessarily think that that would have been the right move for them to go for either, but I'm a bit unsure about this one. Reading fans, let me know down below what you've made of it. Barnsley are also still on the hunt after letting go of manager Daniel Stendel. I thought that, you know, having the whole international break to try and get a new manager in, I thought they might go down that route, but for the time being, Adam Murray is the current favourite for the job. He is their caretaker manager at this point in time, and I wouldn't be all too surprised to see Adam Murray take over Barnsley for the next sort of 3 matches or so. We do have 3 games coming up in the next week, as we do have midweek fixtures. Those games for Barnsley will be against Swansea, West Brom and Huddersfield. If he does well in those games, I wouldn't be all too surprised if he was maybe given the job after that. But some of the other people who are being linked to the Barnsley job at the moment, Jan Siewert, I've seen, has been mentioned, not too sure about that, the former Huddersfield manager, and former American footballer Steve Cherundolo's also been linked with the Barnsley's manager job as well. He was most recently the assistant coach for the USA national team. That one will be a bit of a curveball, but it's one to keep your eye on. And Millwall also have a vacancy for their managerial role, and currently, as of recording, the favourite is Gareth Ainsworth, the current Wycombe manager. Now for me personally, I would love to see Gareth Ainsworth coming into the Championship. I've always seen him as maybe, you know, a future Preston North End manager. He used to play for us back in the day, but he's done an absolutely terrific job with Wycombe. Got them promoted from League 2. He's been there since 2012. They currently sit 2nd in League 1, and with the budget that he's been working on at Wycombe, he's done an absolutely tremendous job. I'd love to see him get a crack at the Championship. I think that would be a really exciting appointment from Millwall. Another one that I saw being linked to the job has been Gary Rowett. I think that Gary Rowett is the manager who's sort of in need of building his reputation back up after things went sour for him at Stoke. Maybe the Millwall job would be the right place to do that, but Millwall fans, let me know down below who you'd like to see come in as a new manager. But there's some of the recent speculation going on around managers in the league. Without any further ado now though, let's get into some transfer rumours. So starting out the transfer rumours with Eddie Nketiah, who's currently on loan at Leeds United from Arsenal. Now while he was out on international duty with the England under-21s, he did give an interview in which he went on to say he'd like to get more minutes for Leeds as the season goes on. I think that that's only natural for a player like him to be saying. But it begs the question, if he doesn't get more game time, then Arsenal may go ahead and choose to recall him in January and then look to send him out on loan somewhere else. Bristol City were a club who were heavily linked to him in the summer. Obviously, Nketiah chose to go to Leeds instead. With the way that Leeds like to play with that one striker formation, it has been Patrick Bamford for the whole year so far. Bielsa really seems to like Bamford in that role, and while I do see what he offers for Leeds, I think that his overall play has been good for Leeds so far. In terms of who's the better goal scorer, I think you've got to give that to Nketiah. He's averaged a goal every 82 minutes so far while at Leeds. I myself would like to see him starting in that team, or else Leeds may face losing him in January. Another option is they could possibly switch it up a little bit, maybe drop Bamford back into that number 10 role and play Nketiah ahead of him, have them two linking up, because I do think it would be a real opportunity missed if Leeds weren't to utilise this loan spell of Nketiah, and if he was to go back in January. Nketiah to Bristol City in the January transfer window could still be on the card. So Leeds fans, let me know down below what you've made of this one. Another one involving Leeds has been that Liverpool are reportedly interested in centre-back Ben White. Obviously, he's currently on loan there from Brighton. Leeds really weren't making use of some of the loans earlier on in the season, but Ben White so far, I think there's an argument to be made that he has been Leeds' best player so far this season, and it's understandable to see why the 21-year-old is attracting interest, with Liverpool wanting to go in with, I think, a £20 million bid, I saw reported. Brighton, I think, will want to do everything they can to keep hold of him. It's probably likely that this is going to be the only season where we are seeing Ben White in the Championship, because after this, the Premier League's probably going to be his level. One transfer rumour that always pops up, it was talked about a lot in the summer, was GAYLE moving to the Championship. I think that if anyone was to go in for GAYLE in January, that pretty much guarantees promotion for them. You know, his goal scoring record is absolutely unbelievable. In his last 2 seasons in the Championship with Newcastle and West Brom, he scored a combined 46 goals. And there has been talk of perhaps if Nketiah was recalled by Arsenal from Leeds, that maybe they would then go in for GAYLE, who's yet to play for Newcastle so far this season, as he has been out with a calf injury. With the amount of chances that they create, they have been a little bit wasteful so far this season, but GAYLE would absolutely thrive in that Bielsa team. I do think it's a bit unrealistic though. I can't see Leeds going in for him in January, but that would probably be the dream deal for them. Another transfer rumour which popped up in the last few weeks was Preston defender Ben Davies being linked to the Premier League. This one, it doesn't come as a massive surprise for me, because he is an absolutely fantastic, English prospect playing at centre-back, so comfortable on the ball. Currently the clubs being talked about as linked to Ben Davies are Wolves, Everton, Brighton and Newcastle. I think for the club to sell in January, it would have to be a bit of a ridiculous offer, really. I can't see us selling Ben Davies in January. Possibly in the summer after that, though, if there is still that Premier League interest there, then maybe a move would happen. And Ben Davies would deserve that move, there's no doubt about that. I think that over the past 2 or 3 seasons, Ben Davies' role in this team has continued to evolve. Obviously, he was brought through the youth ranks at Preston as a left-back. Didn't really, no Preston fan thought he had a future there. But after a successful loan spell out to Fleetwood Town, where he played in a back 3 at centre-back on the left-hand side of it, he came back to Preston as a completely new player. I would go as far to say he's one of the best ball-playing centre-backs in the league. He's only 24, so he's got age on his side. He's left-footed, which is quite rare with centre-backs, and he's English, so that's always going to come at a premium price. Preston wouldn't be willing to sell him on the cheap, but the worry with Ben Davies is that I believe that after this season, he only has 1 more year left on his contract, so I can't see him going in January, but I think that the demand for Ben Davies will certainly be there with Premier League clubs in the summer transfer window. There have been reports that Sheffield United may be going back in for Ollie Watkins after they missed out on the player in the summer transfer window. Ollie Watkins did sign a new contract with Brentford in the summer, though. He is contracted with them until 2023, so it would take quite a fee for Sheffield United to get him out of Brentford. But with his goal scoring record so far, playing as that number 9 for Brentford, in 11 matches he scored 7 goals in the Championship, and Sheffield United just seem to have an obsession with sort of stockpiling Championship strikers. They did it heavily in the summer with some of the players they signed. Watkins, I see, is quite a similar player to Callum Robinson, who they went in for in the summer. Someone who's a good sort of inside forward who also has the capability of leading the line. Sheffield United do already have quite a few players in that area, but I can see why there is interest there. There's also been mention lately that Arsenal have been scouting Bristol City midfielder Massengo after impressing so far after his move from Monaco in the summer. I think that Bristol City fans recognise that he is the sort of player who has that potential to go all the way to the top. After a full season in the Championship, I'd be interested to see where Premier League clubs do stand on him. I think that if there is already interest from the top 6 clubs, then Bristol City really could be turning a fortune for a player like Massengo. 19-year-old Coventry defender Sam McCallum has been a target for several Championship clubs, with Nottingham Forest, Leeds United and West Brom all said to be interested in the teenager. Now, Coventry have a brilliant record with developing young players and bringing them through. I think they're one of the best clubs to do it in the lower leagues at the moment. Obviously, with their most recent departure being Tom Bayliss making his move to Preston. Coventry manager Mark Robinson spoke highly about him in the past, saying that it would take a huge bid for them to sell the teenager, but it's one to keep your eye on, definitely. Ryan Manning for QPR has seriously impressed so far this season, mostly playing his football as a left-back, and that has attracted Premier League interest, with Newcastle and Southampton both interested in the player. I'd be interested from QPR fans, what would you be willing to let Ryan Manning go for? It's crazy what a year has made to this guy's career, but over the past few months, I think there's an argument to be made that he has been one of QPR's best performing players so far this season. He has an average match rating of 7.11. He's got 3 assists so far, and he's come up with several fantastic performances throughout the season. At 23 years old, Premier League clubs obviously see the potential in him. Speaking of Newcastle, they are also said to be interested in Nottingham Forest defender Joe Worrall. Now, if you were to ask me what I thought of Joe Worrall a couple of years ago, I wasn't too sure where I stood on him, but after coming back back from his loan spell from Rangers last season, he's come back as a much more established player, has added to his game and has been a pivotal part of that Nottingham Forest defence so far this season, which has been able to keep things so tight. He's English, he's 22, he's not going to go for a cheap price. I think that Forest would drive quite a hard bargain if they were to let Joe Worrall go, because I think that everyone sees the potential there. Staying with Nottingham Forest, they have said to be interested in Chelsea youngster Billy Gilmour, who did reportedly ask Lampard for a loan move in January, but Lampard for the time being has turned that down and wants to see him fight for his place in the Chelsea starting lineup. Obviously Lampard has been one to give youth players a real go at Chelsea so far this season. From what I've read about him, he is said to be quite highly rated, although I'm not really sure Forest needs another player in that area. Leeds have also been linked, but they're sort of full up with loan players at the moment. Forest have also been linked to French attacking midfielder El Kabachi. The 21-year-old is currently a free agent, so that's another one to keep your eye on. Also a completed deal we saw go through the other day was Rodri, the Spanish striker, making his move to Bristol City. Bristol City were a little bit light in this area, and they've gone for the 29-year-old on a short-term basis. I think an initial contract which runs until January. I think formerly of Barcelona B, he started his career out at Sevilla. He has also previously played in the Championship before having a loan spell to Sheffield Wednesday. In that time he scored once in 12 appearances. From what I've read about the player, he seems to be a little bit inconsistent, but can have a flash of brilliance every once in a while. I'm interested to see how he beds in at Bristol City. Liverpool midfielder Herbie Kane has been linked with a loan move to the Championship in January. This one will probably make sense for his career. Currently 20 years old, the club said to be interested are Swansea, Hull and Rangers. Last season he had a loan spell in League One out to Doncaster Rovers, where he was able to score 7 goals from midfield in all competitions. And then finally, Crystal Palace are said to be targeting West Brom defender Nathan Ferguson as the long-term replacement for Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. Now Ferguson's really having his breakthrough year in the Championship at the moment. Only 19 years old, but he's looked so comfortable in that West Brom setup with a goal, an assist and a couple of man of the match appearances so far. However, West Brom are hopeful of keeping hold of him and reportedly are in talks with him over a new 5-year contract. I think that everyone so far has seen the potential for Nathan Ferguson. West Brom fans I'm sure will be adamant to keep hold of him. One day I'm sure we will be seeing him in the Premier League, and West Brom fans will be hoping that that will be with them. But guys, there we have it. There are some of the latest transfer rumours which I have seen currently going around the Championship. So let me know in the comments down below if you've seen any that we didn't mention in today's video. We do still have a couple of months until the transfer is open, but we've certainly not got a shortage of transfer rumours going around at the moment. If you did go on to enjoy the video, guys, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. Tomorrow I will have my Championship Week 10 score prediction video coming out, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But apart from that, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.